What if you knew where the White House was planning to dump billions of dollars next? I know, it sounds a little like insider information, right? But according to the source material for this explainer, there's a really clear pattern emerging, one that's already sent some specific stocks through the roof. Take this number, 300%. That's how much one company, USA Rare Earth, jumped in just a single month after a White House investment was announced. We're talking a 3x return almost overnight. So how in the world does that happen? Was that just some lucky break? Well, the analysis we're looking at says, nope, not a chance. It points to a repeatable strategy, a kind of playbook that the government seems to be using over and over to build up key American industries. Okay, so let's dive into this playbook. To really understand where the government might be placing its next big bet, we've got to look at the strategy they've already used. And you know what? It all starts with the global race for AI.
Think about it. The very foundation of AI, we're talking everything from data centers to advanced robotics, it all depends on these things called rare earth minerals. And right now, China controls a staggering 90% of that market. For the US, this isn't just an economic headache, it's a huge national security risk.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this slide kind of decodes the whole government approach. So first, the White House backed a company called MP Materials. And the market pretty much assumed, okay, that's it, that's their chosen national champion. But then, they invested in a second company, USA Rare Earth. And the signal was crystal clear. The goal isn't to create a single monopoly, but to build a strong domestic duopoly with a couple of key players. And what happened? The market got the message, and both stocks basically tripled. So here's the bottom line, the crucial point. The playbook really just boils down to 3 core rules. First, you target an industry that is absolutely vital for national security. Second, you figure out a way to break another country's dominance in that space. And third, you fund key American startups that have the real potential to scale up and compete on the world stage.
All right, now that we have the playbook, let's actually put it to the test with our first potential candidate. We're going to look at the semiconductor chip sector and a company called Global Foundries to see exactly how these rules might play out.
Now, at first glance, this one seems a little odd. The government has already made a massive bet on Intel, the company making the most advanced cutting-edge AI chips in America. It really seems like they have their champion in this space already.
So why on earth would they double up and invest in Global Foundries? This is a company that makes the so-called boring chips, the older, less advanced ones. What's the play here?
And this is just a brilliant illustration of the strategy. It's because those boring chips are absolutely essential for everything else that powers our national security. We're talking about crucial defense systems, fighter jets, cybersecurity infrastructure, you name it. By backing both Intel and Global Foundries, the government could lock down a domestic supply chain for both the super advanced stuff and the everyday workhorse technologies.
Okay, next up, energy. The AI revolution needs a truly mind-boggling amount of electricity to power all those data centers. And our source suggests the government sees next-generation nuclear as a huge part of the answer. And that brings us to a really interesting startup called Oklo.
Oklo fits rule number 3 of our playbook like a glove. Fund key startups. It's an innovative company. They're developing these small modular nuclear reactors. They've got the tech, they've got the vision, but like so many startups, they need a major injection of cash to make it all a reality.
But wait, this is where the case for Oklo gets even stronger. Just look at these connections. The current U.S. Energy Secretary, a former Oklo executive. Its former chairman, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who works super closely with the White House. On top of that, the company is already involved in government pilot projects. I mean, with ties this deep, it becomes a very high probability candidate.
All right, our final company, Energy Fuels, highlights another really critical piece of this playbook, something that's crucial in any race against a global competitor, and that is speed.
Let's go back to that rare earth problem for a second. See, it's not enough to just dig the minerals out of the ground. You also have to process them into materials you can actually use. Building these super complex facilities takes years, and the US is seriously playing catch-up right now.
And this timeline just shows you why speed is everything. The need for this processing is urgent, like right now. A lot of the new competitor projects, they aren't even scheduled to come online until 2028. But Energy Fuels has this incredible advantage. Its White Mesa Mill in Utah is the only facility of its kind in the entire country that is already up and running. If the government wants to move fast, this is pretty much the most obvious choice.
So let's just pull all these different threads together for a moment. We've seen a clear pattern across rare earths,
semiconductor chips, and nuclear energy. What does it all really mean?
The playbook definitely holds up. The government is targeting these critical sectors in funding U.S. companies to challenge foreign rivals. But our examples tonight have revealed another layer to it. They're prioritizing real, tangible advantages. Global Foundries has the factories, Oklo has the connections, and Energy Fuels, well, they have the speed.
And that really brings us to the final, crucial question. This isn't just a random series of investments. It feels like a deliberate strategy to build a whole team of American national champions. The playbook seems clear. So the only question left is, who gets chosen next?